Test, test, test. Alright, hey everybody. Happy Tuesday. We are here for week 2 of Terra Mystica Tuesday League. This is America Division 1. And we're just waiting for all the players to arrive. Okay, so while we're waiting for this game to start up here, let's look at the standings. Yeah. Sorry, just getting some stream stuff figured out here. Alright, so after 1 week here, got George with 1 first place with 6 points, Ryan the Man with 1 second place with 3 points, and Red Alert's got 1 point. So Bizzle came in 4th the last game, and Claybo has not played yet. So this week, we've got Bizzle as the home player, choosing all the settings, and then Red Alert, this is their bye week. Let's see if I can figure out how to switch back here. So we are 1 George away from getting started here. And initially it looks like we're going with a whole lot of settings turned on here. So we'll see if this changes before the game starts. We got random game board, auction of course, no landscapes, fire and ice scoring tiles at random, fire and ice factions off, but fan factions on. So this should be interesting. I'll say I have not played with fan factions yet. I know a little bit about them. So if we get someone throwing them in, we'll just do our best to figure out what's going on. And yeah, we've got Claybo, as Weber has pointed out in chat, as the under 500 rated player. Hey, I'm one of those myself. Yeah, I would suggest that Claybo's rating does not reflect his skill. I think he was ranked number 1 overall at one point, or at least pretty close there. And then I was checking before the game. It looks like George is... Oh, you know what? I don't have to check before the game. They're all listed right there. We got 3 folks in the top 30. And George is at 6th overall right now. Which, yeah, pretty stacked. Yeah, some really strong players here. Yeah, Claybo's at least a 600 rated player, I would say. Getting his rating down on purpose to get these players with their cards off. Bizzle stream sniping here. I guess it's not stream sniping. I've got nothing interesting to say. I'm not playing. It arranged. Not streaming today. That's cool. Look forward to listening next week. Are you on bye this week, or are you playing? Nice. Well, good luck with your game. Yeah, so Nando's the player who won this. Yeah, the game should be starting any moment here. Nando's the player who's rated in the 100 to 200 ELO range. They won America Division 3 last season, which means that they got promoted to America Division 2 this season. And because the America divisions are a little bit sparse with only 3, that means that Nando's got a decent amount of slack to pick up. So we'll see how they perform. But that's my understanding of what America Division 2 looks like right now. I may have said the wrong numbers. America Division 2. Yeah, it seems like the real-time players in the Americas are a little bit lighter. And I think there's only 3 American divisions. Are there 4? No, I guess there's 4 American divisions. I'm sorry. Yeah, but there were 3 last season. So it got a little bit weird. But the live American divisions are a little bit sparse. But the turn-based league, the async league, has so many different players, some of them from the Americas. I think that's where some of that traffic went. But still good competition, and it still means the folks at the top, like in Division 1 here, are really strong. It looks like we're about to have a game going. Fan factions look like they're still going to be on. Yeah, it seems like there are a surprising amount of Europeans who've been staying up late enough to at least be around for the beginning of this time slot. Like a couple night owls. Is the game started? No, we're waiting for everyone to hit. There we go. Alright. Oh man. Right, all the factions. Alright, well I adjusted the layout a little bit so that we could see the bonus tiles, and oh, you know what? I think I've got 2 layouts. We'll see if this helps. I want people to be able to see the full setup. And the auction, how about that? There we go. Let's take a look at what we got going here. Already some good banter. Alright, so we're on lakes. Got fan factions, but not fire and ice factions in. Round 6 town game immediately jumps out at me. Round 1 temples, round 4 digs. This reads to me like a pretty high scoring track. Trading posts round 2, not necessarily. But all the other events tend to be the type of events folks can capitalize on. So there's a lot to consider here. Furthermore, we've got all 4 of the scoring tiles in the game. So with these strong players, that reads to me like everyone's going to go for a highly economic game, in all likelihood. I mean, that tends to be a good option here. First pick, Time Travelers, already a fan faction. So my understanding of the Time Travelers, and we're going to go ahead and look at their board once the auction's underway, is that they can capitalize really well on the scoring tiles. So they don't score the round that they're on, but they do score the next round and the previous round. So in this case, that would be round 1 temples. Time Travelers in round 1 would score round 2 trading post, and it would wrap around 6 towns. Likewise for round 6. So round 6 would be scoring both round 5 and round 1. Could be interesting. So Time Travelers could... Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of interesting stuff they could do there. The Time Travelers are on brown. Range says Time Travelers with this round 3, 5 dwellings. Yeah, right, so they can just hit those a couple of times. Yeah, Time Travelers can probably get away without Earth 1, potentially, or just double down, depending. Alright, interesting. Alright, what else about this setup? What pass tiles are missing? We've got a lot of power, a lot of workers, not a lot of coins. So we're missing the 6 coin tile, we're missing the 4 coin tile with the Cult Step, and we're missing the Priest. So it was Bizzle with the first pick on Time Travelers, and now we got Claybo thinking about number 2. There's a handful of folks in chat. Let me know how the music is relative to my voice if you can. If it's fine, great, but I'm trying to get the levels right so that it's not totally dominated by the music or anything like that. I find it a little bit awkward as the person casting, at least, to not have music in the background, just have it be me monologuing the whole time. Claybo running down the clock to 20 seconds here. Giving it a deep think. I mean, halflings would have been great here if round wasn't already taken. Oh, okay. Claybo was having internet issues, I guess? Unclear. We got nomads. So we got ourselves some color neighbors here. So we got 2 players from the US, 2 players from Canada. Alright, let's take a further look at this setup. I don't like to speculate too much about how the past tile is going to break down until we've got all 4 factions in, but it's going to take a little bit of time for me to figure out any fan factions anyways, since I haven't played with them. But again, looks like a low coin game. We've got only the 2 coins coming off of the dwelling pass tile and the spade tile. Although on the scoring track we do have round 1 bonus for coins, which is tricky. I mean, sometimes, in this case, it looks like maybe 1, maybe 2 people will be able to take advantage of that. But round 4, we've got Earth track coins coming. So that helps. But all in all, a pretty low coin game. Okay, I'll turn the music up a little bit. Thanks, guys. Just a little bit. Just so I don't have to hear my own voice cutting through the silence. Yeah, otherwise we've got a bunch of past tiles I think folks would like to start on. The big building tile, worker power, temp ship can be relevant, excuse me. And then certainly the spade tile. All very desirable starting tiles. Wisps. Interesting. Okay, so Ryan picks wisps. So the basics of wisps, and again, I'm going to have to go in and dig down a little deeper myself to figure this out. But the basics of wisps, for anyone who doesn't know, is they one of their key features is when they upgrade to a trading post, they get a free spade to use adjacent to that trading post. And I believe they're not allowed to actually build on it on that turn. So I can imagine that would lead to some interesting early rounds. I guess round 2 trading posts for them may be a really helpful event. Also, I'd say the trading post bonus tile probably pretty helpful. Not only does it give them points the first rounds of the game where most other folks are not likely to want to get on that tile, so that's a pretty uncontested passing for point situation. It's also a worker, which I imagine would help if you've got a lot of trading posts down and you're not generating worker income from having as many dwellings. Yeah, wisps on blue, time travelers on brown. And we got engineers as the 4th pick, which Bizza will immediately go on to. Claybo agrees that engineers look the best here. And away we go, all the way down to 30 already. So what are these players seeing for engineers here? Engineers could start with either worker power or spade or temp ship for that matter. I mean, I think any of these past tiles are going to be good for the engineers to start here. Round 1 temple round. Sometimes engineers can get out 2 temples in the first round. Let's look at the color wheel here. We've got... Yeah, we got ourselves a friendly color wheel, right? Only 1 set of color neighbors. Nomads and time travelers. Not sure how well they can coexist on this map. but we'll see. I would imagine that Wisps are far and away the 40 faction here. Bids are still coming in pretty quickly, so players like Engineers and Nomads here. So no factions that I can see that look like they can really take advantage of that round 4 dig round, which can sometimes be interesting. But I don't know that we're going to see a whole lot of that here. One thing about Time Travelers I have seen is that they are not allowed to upgrade their digs, and I think it's for exactly that reason. Being able to take advantage of like a round 1 dig round in round 6, once you've had all your resources come in, of course the game would be pretty broken. Yeah, very coin type game. So Engineers make a lot of sense in that context. So that checks out. I guess Wisps can't hurt there either. I'm a little bit surprised that Wisps were picked before Time Travelers here. I wonder if we'll see a sort of short auction because of it. I wonder if Claybo's considering going on to the Time Travelers here. I'm gonna switch. I think I played around a little bit with layouts. I think this should just work for the rest of the stream here so we can kind of see everything. Time Travelers. Stronghold. You can move 4 power tokens from Bowl 1 to Bowl 3 immediately. Alright. Neat, I guess. What else? Yeah, this just explains their scoring. Wisps, when they build a trading post, they can immediately terraform an adjacent space with 1 spade, but cannot build there immediately. And their stronghold allows them to immediately place a free dwelling in any water space anywhere on the map. If there's any other things about these factions that are unique, feel free to chime in, folks. I've kind of optimized this layout here for being able to see bonus tiles at all times and being able to see favorite tiles that players have taken at all times. Not particularly good for looking at player boards. Yeah, that's interesting about Time Travelers. Civ's pointing out that the end game scoring for Time Travelers ends up pushing the town round 1 town earlier, and then the temple round is the last round. Temple and dwelling round is the last round. So that's a little bit awkward. Yeah, not a huge scoring opportunity there for them. So I guess that maybe that's why these players are still avoiding that. I don't know. I still wouldn't be surprised if both Wisps and Time Travelers went for 40. But so far, folks are still tending towards the Engineers and Nomads. Curious to see if anybody gets a particularly good deal out of this auction because of general familiarity and comfort with the base factions. Like George and Ryan in particular, not sure their level of interest or experience with the fan factions. They're both, I mean, these are all extremely strong players. I'm sure they'll figure it out and be able to put together a good game. But I do wonder if they might end up slightly overpaying for Nomads and or Engineers because of it. Yeah, so we do have a game. So both Time Travelers and Wisps went for 40. No huge surprise there. Yeah, George is saying in chat he doesn't really know how to evaluate these factions. Yeah, which is a little bit of a bummer to me. You know, this should be a really fun game, and I'm excited to see it. I mean, this league is I think, I mean, I'm excited to see the rest of this league's games in general. But fan factions are still pretty unknown, and you know, probably are going to get rebalanced to some extent. Maybe not these 2 factions in particular, before they become a little bit more official. Plus, it's a beta option on the site, so I think it's a little bit of a bummer to see them in kind of like a higher level competitive tournament game like this. But it's going to be fun nonetheless. So yeah, this is Bizzle's home game. I think that's kind of the vibe he was going for. But he may also think it's playing to his advantage in some way. Yeah, Strange says, don't think these fan factions are that strong here on this map, this particular matchup. Yeah, I'm going to totally trust your judgment on that one, Deranged. I know you've played a decent amount of these. Yeah, it could be an interesting Wisp game. I mean, this map's a little bit awkward for mermaids in some ways. Maybe that's better for Wisps. I can't imagine why. We'll see. Okay, so anyways, starting placements. We've got Time Travelers in the middle of what could be a lucrative leech spot here. And then we've got Nomads. Sometimes like to go Stronghold on this map, because there's really a couple of good ways to carve through this spot in the middle. I'm going to turn on hex numbers. Where are they? Map indexes. Stronghold Nomads can sometimes cut from D4 to F4 for basically one dig for 2 hexes, and same thing with A5, A7. But E4 is taken up here, so that's not going to be an option. Otherwise, Nomads going east. So Time Travelers are in a little bit of an awkward spot here, needing to place their dwelling before Nomads place their third dwelling. So Nomads have a little bit of options here. Initially, these starting placements look pretty good for Engineers. I guess it depends on how the past tiles can break down. So this C3 hex here can be pretty important in this color wheel in particular. I think all 3 of these factions that are surrounding C3 would really love to get that hex, because it represents a town for, I think, any of them that gets it, and it more or less kills the town for those who don't. Engineers can still go from D6 to E5 and make an easy bridge here, and it looks like they're going to be set up to have that space pretty free for them, but we've got Time Travelers in the first seat with the potential, if they wanted to double dig this hex, do some kind of hard dig, they would maybe be able to. That's the Clay Bojangle special from Fire 2 Open. Engineers, however, are in 4th seat, so while they could have a clean shot at double dig here, depending on what pass tile he picks, and he's thinking about that right now, Nomads would have the ability to potentially act on C3 first if they really thought it was important enough. So to me, George here on Nomads has to decide what this D4 dwelling is for. Is it going to be a stranded structure? Is it going to become part of a town? What does that look like? By the way, George did end up placing his Nomads on G6, which Time Travelers had no opportunity to block that placement, or to rather foresee that placement before they chose their placements. So that hurts a little bit for Time Travelers. Brown on this map loves this stretch here, F6 to G4. It can be a really easy town. And George put a stop to that. Range is saying Time Travelers could double dig that red hex with their first action. Oh yeah, what is Time Travelers' starting power? Yeah, okay, so Time Travelers start with 9 power in Bowl 2. So yeah, they have tempo on that. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I was thinking of them as not that kind of faction. Alright, but Claybo does go for double, worker power for starting pass tile. Bizzle happily takes the spade, 2 coins on Wisps. Remember, this is a very low coin game. And we see Nomad start on the 2 workers stronghold tile here. Big building tile. So we'll see if they go stronghold. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so Time Travelers do go for that double dig. That's a key hex, which it looks like George anticipated and was planning around. So we could see a double temple from George here. Bizzle immediately upgrades a trading post, cuts off G3 from Engineers. Makes a good amount of sense. And so now Claybo's sitting with a decent amount of power, access to the single spade should he want it. And otherwise, deciding what to do. So if I'm Claybo in this situation, and I'm really, really not much stronger player than I am, but considerations for engineers in this situation, in my mind, are starting double temple and then passing around 2 onto double dig can be really strong. Kind of get everything that you want, plus you get whatever income from the favorite tiles you pick for an extra round that way. But the key is, no one else can pass before you. In this situation, it's really unclear to me in particular what nomads are doing. I'd say time travelers as well. Time travelers can look to have a pretty fast round here. So while he's thinking about that, we'll take a look at Time Traveler's game here. So now Time Travelers have opened up a pretty easy town here. This B4 hex looks very safe to me. So that's Ryan on Time Travelers. He also, sitting on Temp Ship here, has access to A4 this first round. So should be able to start Temple and 3 dwellings if he wants to. He can go for Fire 1, low point king. That could look good. Alright, so Claybo upgrades next to Bizzle, down in the south here. Looking to potentially maximize Leech, and again, could go double Temple. Right now, the only other player with enough power for the single Spade, that's not true, I guess Wisps could take it, but Nomads are the ones who could use the single Spade. It's a little bit awkward though, without shipping right now. They're pretty much looking at C7 is their only single Spade option, which doesn't get them very far. So this does look like a little bit of an awkward position for George. A foreseeable one for sure, but I do wonder, I mean it's possible some of these players didn't immediately know, as I didn't immediately know, that Time Travelers start with enough power to threaten double big. But George takes a Priest. Bizzle on Wisps upgrades to a Temple. Snags a copy of Earth 1. Okay. Just respond to the message here. Okay. Claybo takes Temple. I imagine this is to lock up Earth 1 as well. It is. Alright, Time Travelers go for a second trading post. That one's a little bit of a mystery to me, but I guess since it's a low coin game, maybe Ryan's got a good plan for round 2 that can otherwise let him get out enough dwellings. We'll see. That's interesting. NG's losing connection, this really could not have been their plan. Yeah, I guess not, right? I guess with C3 taken and G3 taken, doesn't look very good. Claybo's teasing Ryan for the double TP. Yeah, I mean, the connection path for NG's is, you know, it's not completely gone, right? They can ship down south and through here, but it's effectively gone. I mean, them connecting now would involve a lot of digging over in this stretch, E6 through F8 over here, which doesn't look likely. All right, we see a stronghold opening from Nomads, and then Wisps digging out E3 here with their Spade before Nomads can get there with the stronghold. So yeah, I'll admit this, for the base factions right now, there's a lot of getting cut off happening. Kind of a chaotic game already. I mean, maybe I'm just a little out of my element figuring out what's going on because I'm not too familiar with these fan factions, but it seems a bit chaotic. Oh yeah, so Time Travelers take advantage of the round 2 score with the Temples, and next round with the trading posts. And so next round for them will be Temple scoring. So that makes sense. I get it. They just need one more worker and one more coin to have the resources to do so. That might leave them pretty poor, though. I guess it'll depend on what they pass on to. And they'll be able to get some power, it looks like, to take a power action, hopefully. The George digs up to C2. Overall, a little bit of an underwhelming start for Nomads. So they did get a lot of leech. So maybe not terribly underwhelming. They do have a priest in hand. They took the priest power action, so they'll be able to get that to whatever cult they choose. Probably fire or earth, I would imagine, to get to the 4 spot. So for anyone just tuning in, this is Bizzle's home game. So far, George has won game 1. Ryan got a 2nd place, and Red Alert, who is not playing this week, got 3rd place. So Claybo and Bizzle are both fighting for their first points of the league this game here. Alright, so now the single spade is still available. Wisps, engineers, yep, and there it goes. Okay, so Claybo does decide that he wants to get G2 here with the single spade. I don't see any more power coming in for Claybo this round. Otherwise, I'd say it'd be possible that he could take the bridge action. I don't know if that's actually any good, but he could get over to F3. Anyhow, we see Time Travelers be the first to pass here, and they're going to have 4 power at least. So that's enough for a coins action if they want it. They take the trading post tile, get a worker off of that. Looks like a pretty good start. Okay, Nomads upgrade shipping. So they're out of coins. But they should have enough power and workers that they can get up to A5. Sandstorm A6. We'll see what's in the cards for them. They are passing for 4 points. And they're going to end this round with Stronghold 3 dwellings. So now Bizzle's got some power. And has tempo on passing 2nd here. What does Wisp's game look like? So they've got Earth 1. Next round's trading post round. I think kind of like everybody, they're going to be wanting some coins here. One thing I did miss, it looks like engineers took the coins actually this round. So they secured that for themselves. So they're still able to open double temple if they want to. And they could do so on G2 to avoid giving Time Travelers a bunch of leech. Although Time Travelers don't have the capacity to take more than 2 for 1 anyhow. But there it goes. So Claybo does upgrade on G2. So Nomads will be able to pass for... Oh, there it is. Okay. Wow. So Nomads burn down to 5 power, use all of their resources to get out the dwelling on A5. Yeah, engineers are able to get a 2 temple, 1 dwelling start here. For Earth 1, Earth 2. Nomads will go into the 2nd round with the spade. Now engineers can pass on to the temp ship. That looks pretty good for them. They've got access with 1 shipping to a lot of hexes on this map. In this case, F3 and D3. Alright, so Ryan opens up with a single spade to open up B4 and B5. So keep in mind, as Time Travelers, he's scoring round 3 and round 1 now, which is dwellings and temples. It sure does look like he's going to be able to build some dwellings and a temple here. but it'll depend. He is on a spade pass tile as well. So with one shipping, he could dig e5, c7. He could end this round with a whole lot of a whole lot of dwellings. More trading posts from Bizzle here. So he's got the option to basically just dig g4 black. Wisps are an awkward faction, aren't they? I think the consensus is that they're not terribly strong, generically speaking, but more situational. It's not clear to me whether this is one of those situations. In any case, George isn't going to show his hand just yet. He builds out the obvious dwelling on a7. Doesn't place the spade. So Wisps are going to get another spade coming out of this round, which looks pretty good for them. Yep, Claybo, as expected, engineers put a priest to the 3 spot on Earth. So with a stronghold opening and then a 2 by nomads, and then a 2 trading post opening by time travelers here, the cults are still pretty wide open. None of these factions particularly culty ones, to my knowledge. The cult reward's a little bit awkward. Water cult does pay out twice, but the cult reward for round 3, being 4 fire for 4 power, is not the most overwhelming usually. Civ says, my understanding is that Wisps are okayish, but they feel awkward and clunky. Yeah, that's the impression that I got. I'm curious who's played Wisps before here. Civ, if you've played or if anyone else has. It's a really interesting mechanic, I think. Is like the trading post upgrade in the adjacency. But in a map like this, I don't know, I guess it's interesting because they need like free space to do so. It's just sort of a mindset shift, right? Like in this case with G3, the G3 trading post upgrade, that was, where they had a neighbor. That was the only dwelling they had with a neighbor and a free hex adjacent to it. And so they just sort of dug a brown halfway. Just, less than ideal. In this case, I think it's fine. They're getting another spade coming off the cult at the end of this round. They could use that there or on F3. But, yeah, a little bit awkward. I think Deranged is playing now. I don't know if you're still in chat, but Deranged Civ, I'm curious if you guys or anyone else has like favorite fan factions so far. I've just sort of seen and heard, but not played with them. And Time Travelers seem among the more interesting to me. Like they don't feel. I don't know if I'd say they feel vanilla, but they don't feel totally insane. Like I think it's the Enlightened where the way that their board works is just like entirely different. Yeah, but the blue hexes built around 2 factions. The other 2 factions either have ship or don't. Yeah, Whisper a little bit of a departure from Swarmlings and I guess mostly Mermaids. Yeah, it's interesting. Alright, in any case, catching up on this a little bit more. Claybo got a priest action, which is nice. George still has not used that spade. George has a spade in hand, 1 shipping, and not enough to really build more than 1 dwelling. So we'll see what hex he goes for here. Let's see, what are we learning about the factions here? Asking why Ryan wants a free 1 for 0. Because of the stronghold ability. I'm not following. That's okay. Alright, so yeah, George uses spade on A3. Wow, so nomads are ending this round with stronghold, trading post, 6 dwellings. And we see Wisps and Time Travelers have already passed out of the round. Time Travelers first get their first pick of power action with full 6 power tokens available. Conspirators are fun, although kind of strong in ways that are not fun. Says Civ. Range says likes Time Travelers design a lot. Super matchup dependent. Yeah, okay. That's cool. Yeah, Time Travelers strike me as one of the more sort of interesting ones that isn't, again, like totally wacky. Like, I think it's fun to have some of the really wacky ones in. But it's just a little bit different. Time Travelers seem kind of more in line with the base factions, but they're new, which is really cool. Claybo goes with a trading post here. Yeah, so Claybo took the priest action as either a stall or a block because went ahead and just used it as a worker to get a trading post. George passes on to dwelling scoring with 2 coins, which is pretty ideal for his current situation, which leaves Claybo with an open spade should he choose it. Though engineers are on 0 shipping right now. They're on 1 shipping, but that's just from the temp ship. Yeah, conspirators are also interesting. Anyone who doesn't know, conspirators can swap. Is it just their stronghold ability? Basically, they can swap favorite tiles. That's their whole thing. And then I think after they build their stronghold, they get 2 coins every time they do it. It's like once per round, you can use your stronghold action to swap out a favorite tile and then lose those coin steps. So you can take an economic favorite tile early, and then take an income favorite tile early, and then you can take a scoring tile, swap it out for a scoring tile if there's still one available in a timely way. Anyways, while Claybo's thinking about that, I'm going to step away for 1 minute. I'll be right back. Alright, we're back. What did we miss here? Claybo passed on to the spade as expected. Brian takes coins, makes a lot of sense. Bizzle takes a single spade to transform F3 blue and declines to build on it. Oh no, I'm sorry. Bizzle used his cold spade on F3 and then uses single spade on G4 to build on it. George builds out B3 with the stronghold. Looks like he's setting up for Bridgetown there. It's a really interesting Nomads game. Again, on the Dwelling Pass tile, we'll be able to pass for up to 8 points this round, probably 7 or 8. No temples yet from Nomads. We're already in round 3. Civ saying in chat, Stronghold taking a 3-step tile to hit a color ward. Yeah, that's a cool use of it. Yeah, any factions or expansions that sort of allow for those 3 power step tokens to become more relevant is a lot of fun in my mind too. Same thing with like the trading post tile, like any underutilized bonus tiles or favorite tiles. It's cool when there are factions that can kind of take advantage of that. So we've got a dwelling around here, which for most folks is all that it is. For time travelers, that means that they've got trading post and a dig ground. Nomad's really taking advantage of just having the 4 power tokens left in their bowls. They've been able to take a lot of power actions so far. They almost have enough for a bridge here, though not just yet. In the meantime, time travelers have claimed the 3 spot on fire. So along with Fire 1 and their initial steps, which looks like they do start on the second spot on Fire, they're already up to the 6th spot. So 1 more Priest to Fire would get them to 8 power income this round. But in any case, they've got 4 locked up. Bizzle's starting to suspect that the Wisps are not very good. Bizzle, it must be pointed out that you do have 56 points. That's more than anybody else. Yep, Ryan points out the same thing. Can't argue with that. Alright, we see Nomads have passed onto the big building tile. They were able to pass with 7 dwellings on the board. So they've got 6 workers in hand and then 10 worker income coming, which is pretty wild. Time Travelers claim Water 1. Wisps finally build on F3. They are on 1 shipping here, so they're pretty much out of resources except for their power. But they're within reach of H4 now. Not sure if that does much for them. And engineers continue building out dwellings in this dwelling round as well. The priest power action is still available. Everyone's got enough power that they could take it here if they wanted to. Although Ryan would have to burn quite a bit to do so. Upgrades trading post for 6 points and for town. So we'll see what he goes for. Yeah, that center stretch for Brown on this map, in this color wheel in particular, so strong. Alright, yeah, Time Travelers take 2 key town. First blood here with towns, and they claim the 2 key. So that's how they're getting up to that 8 spot on fire. Which will give them 9 power income. Nothing else changes. Which looks great. And they've, all but locked out that cult. No one's beaten them there, I don't think. No genie in this game or anything like that. So at this point, Bizzle can either take a power action, do enough conversions to build on H4, or just pass out of the round. Bizzle is on the ship scoring tile. So we'll pass for a handful of points here. And we've got the dwelling scoring tile and the trading post scoring tile available. So again, this is it's a pretty low coin setup, but it is a very high scoring setup. A lot of bonus tiles, all the bonus tiles in the game. Then a lot of high scoring events coming up. We do still have towns round 6. So Bizzle does convert. resources over to be able to build on H4 here. Claybo and Bizzles are becoming buddies over here. On blue and gray, trading the leech back and forth, trading favors. It's heartwarming, really. Ooh, yeah, okay. So that 4 for 3 actually allows Claybo to take a double spade, get out one more dwelling this round. I imagine he'll build D6. No, I guess D6 isn't under too much threat. So he builds C7. This looks great for engineers. Look at that income. They've got their 2 temples uncovered. I don't know if you can see it, it's tiny. I made these player boards small so we could see which favorite tiles they all had. But got the 1 trading post uncovered, the 2 temples uncovered, and then exactly 4 worker income coming off the board. Which looks great. It looks like Time Tower is going to finish out this round by building another trading post for 6 points. And Wisps are the second out of the round. What will they pass for? Next round's a dig round coming up. Cult's still pretty open. Not a lot of priests have gone to Cult so far. But engineers with a commanding lead on Earth. And then Time Travelers likewise on Fire. I imagine we'll see a couple priests to Earth this next round to try to jockey for position and get some coins off of the Cult rewards. Yeah, Bizzle passes on to the trading post tile. Makes a lot of sense. So spade round next round. Bizzle should be able to get at least 2 spades just from upgrading trading posts, if he so chooses. And we'll have enough power to possibly take a spade action as well, depending on what everybody else wants. The engineers are fortunate enough to pass on to the dwelling scoring tile, which provides a couple of much needed coins and a boatload of points going into the next round as well. I think everybody's got a pretty good game going here. Wisps are a little bit awkward and in my mind a little bit hard to evaluate how they're doing, but they do have a decent amount of points and they're going to be getting a lot of points this next round, plus passing for some more. Alright, so Time Travelers do take a priest, which I can imagine they'll send to, well, they could send it any number of places, really. But I think it's going to go to the cults here. Nope. What do I know? They upgrade shipping. Right, they don't want to waste this power that they got coming in. That makes sense. So shipping gets them, so now they're on 1 shipping, so they got a little bit more range going into this next round. We'll see where they head. They are cut off in a lot of places. C5 looks pretty interesting for them to at least connect. Although to me it looks like engineers and nomads are running away with the network race here. Alright, everybody passes out of the round. Time Travelers take the spade as expected. And nomads open up with a coins action. So nomads are sitting on all of their dwellings on the board, essentially. They've got 9 structures out total. 16 workers, 15 coins. How did that happen? Very well played, George. They do have a lot of points to make up. But there's time left yet. So the Water 1 race is on to some extent. Bizzle opens up with a temple to claim Water 1. So same thing last week. I don't know if this is Bizzle's playstyle in general, but classic Earth 1, Water 1 game. Last week he played Nomads and I believe did the same. It looks like Claybo's content to just build out more dwellings here. Time Travelers end up going for the double spade. Yeah, claiming C5 in their connection. And then opening up F7 for themselves as well. But George has got 1 shipping and the potential to do an awful lot of hard digs here. It's a shame he doesn't have any priests he could upgrade digs. Goes for a temple. I'd imagine this is Water 1 as well. Yeah, so engineers miss out on Water 1. I think Claybo's probably okay with that. He's already got 2 temples out. Doesn't have a lot of coins to go around this round, and wanted to make sure to secure these hexes, C7 in particular. So interestingly enough, with all the fan factions and everything else going on, no landscapes this game, so we won't be seeing a land bridge from NGs. Drain says, I think playing Earth 1, Water 1 for Wisps is fine. They probably aren't usually very competitive on Network. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. This is probably pretty standard for Wisps, so I'm sure Bizzle figured that out. So I wonder to what extent we're just going to see George hard digging out all of his town locations. So he gets down to dwelling on A8, which is the last dwelling available on his board. Still got the stronghold action though. So originally I was thinking that we had a bridge town here from C2 in the middle to B3. But I'm seeing now that George could be going for a couple of different options. There could be a 3 or 4 town option here. D3 is only 2 digs away from becoming a bridge town, which would mean that B2 could be 4 hexes here, A3 through B1. Now, whether or not there's going to be enough neighbors for that to become town is a different question. But with 3 stronghold sandstorms left, H7, I6, I7 is also potential town space. So while it initially looked to me like Nomads were a little bit boxed out here, it's clear that they still have a lot of options. Now what they don't have yet is a connection path. So it's possible that George could dig out B8, either this round, probably not this round without the ship to do it, but B8 looks pretty safe for now, and that's a connection hex. Otherwise, yeah, it looks like that's the way to connect, and I think there's a lot to be said for connecting here for Nomads. I think it's pretty essential. They've got a lot of points to make up, and they've got a lot of structures on the board, so they're going to want to try to win Network if they can. Between Engineers and Nomads here, I'm not sure who's in a better position to win Network. Very hard to tell, but they both are looking quite competitive. So another thing I'm seeing here is that the hexes that are easiest for Engineers to reach with the shipping that they're on are all down here in the southeast, which would take some shipping and digging to get to. I guess their grays over in the west are pretty safe as well. In any case, they got 10 coin income coming in off the Cold Track and their trading posts, so that can go a pretty long way for them. Alright, moving towards the end of round 4 here, the dig round. And how's everything looking? We've got everybody but Nomads with some play on the Colts. Engineers have staked their claim in Earth, and then Time Travelers looking pretty good on Colts with Wisps. Some positions here. On Network, it really does look like Nomads and Engineers are sort of fighting for it. I would imagine that this could be a pretty easy 3rd place for Time Travelers, but hard to say. Alright, we get Bizzle, the first one out of the round, passes for 6 points. Passes immediately back onto the ship scoring tile. Some pretty nice bonus tile play here. Is going to next round with looks like enough resources to 7. Looks like enough resources to upgrade ship a handful of times. Get some points off of that. Get out more dwellings. It is a dwelling round. Yeah, Wisp's expansion opportunities don't look stellar to me. Right now they've only got 7 structures on the board, but they've got 2 hexes immediately available, and then a couple more on 2 or 3 shipping. Meanwhile, engineers have all of their dwellings on the board. A little bit awkward for them in that next round is a dwelling scoring round. They did kind of take this round as a extended dwelling round. They don't have. They do pass. I wonder if they'll pass on to the trading post tile here. They did miss out on water 1. Yeah, so Clayville passes on to the trading post tile. Makes a lot of sense. So, although he's swapping the dig ground for a dwelling round in some ways, and the dwelling round for a trading post round in some ways, still going to find ways to score with pretty much all of these structures, given that he passed on to the dwelling tile going into this round, and then the trading post tile going into the next round. We've got some rude digs here. So Ryan uses his spade power bonus tile to dig out I7. And then George digs G5 here. Couple aggressive digs late in the round. Nothing unexpected. George has exactly enough resources for a 3rd trading post. Looks like excellent planning to me. Is only going to be wasting 1 power going to this next round, unless I'm mistaken. Going to end with 4 power in bowl 3. Lovely. Has a spade and coins available. Has the temp ship available. Worker power. We'll see what he goes for. Yeah, really interesting Nomads game. But booming economy, decent amount of resources, a couple towns coming in. I think he still would like a bridge. So I'm seeing a decent amount of bridge pressure here. We've got engineers that would like a bridge. Well, we've got 2 rounds left. Engineers would like a bridge so they can buy their own bridge. They don't necessarily need the power tile. And then Nomads may want a bridge depending on what George's town plans look like. So George takes the spade as expected. Now we'll see what power actions everyone takes to open this round. Yep, Bizzle's town got squelched. But he still has enough that he can take the Sanctuary town if he wants. Certainly won't be doing so this round, I wouldn't imagine. This is the dwelling round. Next round is the trading post round. So, what can Bizzle do? So yeah, Claybos claims the bridge. So if George wants to make his stronghold into a town, he's going to need to claim a bridge action at some point here. But it looks to me like Bizzle's got some decent options. So he can Sanctuary on H6 next round. Okay, this round he's got resources enough to upgrade shipping twice and build out 1, 2, 3 dwellings, assuming nobody digs C6 away from him. So that'll capitalize on the score in this round. Next round, it looks like 2, maybe 3 towns to me. So, first town, easy Sanctuary town here on H6. Second town, is a little bit awkward, but could build a town through here with some spades on F2. That would require potentially an expensive training post on F3. Could be a little bit ugly. I don't know if Bizzle actually has the resources for 3 towns. But in any case, there's another potential bridge town here through H3, H2. He's just lacking neighbors. And I don't know if Nomads are going to give him those. In any case, those are the power actions that have gone so far. Looks like All the players are on tiles that give them points this round, except for George. So I imagine George is going to want to have a short round to get back on that stronghold tile, and to be able to guarantee himself a bridge going into next round. He's got some decisions to make this round and some actions to take at the moment. In the meantime, we see some more priest cults. It looks like time travelers are within spitting distance of the 8 spot on the water cult, which should pay out some more priests. Time travelers, it should be noted, are getting rewarded for towns and digs this round. So the double dig action is available to them. F8 looks pretty good. Open up E6 here and a potential town location. But they've got some other options as well. The time travelers are playing a pretty good culty game here, and they've got a lot of points in the bank as well. They are sitting on 80 at the moment, and on a dwelling pass tile. So my read is that if George can be the first to pass here, then there's one player that's going to be missing out on a bonus tile that pays points in the last round. That player might be Bizzle. Bizzle advances shipping once. Again, it has the resources to advance shipping one more time and build out 2 more dwellings. It is a dwelling round. And Claybo's lacking both dwellings on his board and locations to build them. But as his town lined up, if he upgrades all his trading posts here on the trading post tile, so he's having himself a trading post round. Yep, as expected, Ryan takes the double dig. So time traveler is going to work their way over to the east and carve out that town space. Probably won't be able to make a town this round unless they take fire 2. They might want fire 2. I'm not sure. Doesn't seem that efficient. But George does lock up B8 so he can get his fully connected network on 3 ship. Claybo claims A9. So that's another town location up there. We've got a sanctuary town available in the south, a 4 hex town in the center here, and then in the northeast, Claybo's got a potential bridge town with plenty of neighbors. I like Engineer's position here. I wouldn't be surprised if we pass from George. Now, Bizzle does have does look to be potentially the next one passing. And he does have 2 more obvious actions to take. George, on the other hand, I'm not sure what he would want to do with his resources for the rest of the round. Could take a priest action. He's going to need more priests at some point. Though he does have 1 coming in, which can go towards shipping. But if he passes now, he can guarantee himself points passing off of the bonus tile and his choice of power actions, which I imagine he'll want the bridge. So he does go for that. That makes sense. Cool town alert from Engie's. 3 temple town. Look at that. Someone got a screenshot. Personally, I'll be disappointed if Claybo doesn't upgrade G2 in the middle to make it a symmetrical town. When you got the opportunity, you got the opportunity. There's probably plenty of good reasons to not do that. H5 gives way more leech to Bizzle than Bizzle actually would ever want. So that's probably going to be the move, but I think that's the thing to watch for this game. Forget who wins. Let's get ourselves some cool towns. It has been an interesting one. So we're just about wrapping up on the final round here. on round 5, going into the final round. And I think Bizzle sees the writing on the wall. Probably already saw it before George passed, but that no bonus tile for points for him in the last round, I don't think. Quabo continues happily building his trading posts, working towards the town. Get enough trading posts to pass on to the tile. Pass for points. A lot of resources yet, too. So Clabo could... It almost seems worth it. Offered, what's that, a 7 power for 6 victory points? I don't know if I've ever seen someone accept one of those, not in round 5. This could be big. Alas, he declines it. Yeah, okay. Good point, Deranged. So Bizzle passing next would get him the coins action, assuming that George goes for at the bridge. Yeah, okay. So time travelers are going to go for their town this round to score the town round 6, since it's round 5 for them. So they'll be able to upgrade F7 with their resources. And yeah, they took Fire 2 to lock up Fire and get this town. Looks pretty good. I don't think they're going to use it for more than that town, unless I'm missing something. But I'll also point out, time travelers have 4 priest income going to this round, but only 3 priests in their supply. They do have 1 cult win in the bag, and they're on the lead in 2 other cults. So I think Bizzle has the obvious opportunity to build on C6 here, build the dwelling here in the dwelling round. But also has the opportunity to pass. I can't imagine that either Ryan or Clabo are going to be passing here. Engineers just have too many resources that they can continue to build their economy with, and they're on the trading post tile, which I think they want to build out all the trading posts to maximize the points there, since they do not have Water 1 to give them points for the trading posts otherwise. Time Travelers, on the other hand, just pulled Fire 2 to make this town possible. So I'd be shocked if they did not upgrade F7 for the town this round. So for Bizzle, I guess it's more a matter of should those resources go towards the dwelling now, or are they going to go towards something later? And he decides that they're going to go towards something later. So passes for cool 9 points onto the spade and a likely coins action. And already exceeding 100 VP going into a round 6 towns round. So we've seen some pretty big economy games and some really interesting games so far, and I think we're going to see some really high scores at the end of this one. Here comes the town for time travelers. Curious what he's going to go for town-wise. He could take another cult town, although, yeah, there it is. Okay, another cult town. It's great. I mean, 8 points plus 5 for the scoring tile. Pushes them up even higher in these cults. This is a really nice time travelers game. He's also passing for 6 points on the bonus tile here too. So we're seeing some strong fan faction games here. Which to me is especially impressive. I mean, these players are all very strong, very experienced, have played lots of games, but to be able to just jump in on a faction you haven't played before or aren't particularly familiar with, and put together a really solid game in a real-time format against really strong opponents, very impressive. So kudos to y'all. Both already over 100 points. Though unfortunately Ryan doesn't look to be having another town coming in this next round, unless I'm mistaken. Yeah, so Ryan with 5 priest income. Alright, Claybo's setting up his towns here. He can open next round with a Sanctuary for Fire 2 and claim a couple of high VP towns. Which towns do we have available here? We've got a couple of big towns left. Too late for me to arrange these. Let's get these within view here. This was not worth the effort, but I'm doing it anyways. Love this feature. The towns. Excuse me for the custom layout. Orion's remarking on his 5 priest income and how much of it is wasted. It is a bit of a shame, but what are you going to do? Claybo's the only one left in this round. He set himself up for his 3 towns in the final round. He's got Air 1, Earth 1 to score off of. I guess the real question for Claybo is, how's he expanding his network beyond 12? Because he is still on 1 ship. So maybe he just is satisfied with 2nd place on network here. I don't think Time Travelers or Wisps are going to challenge him for it. And a Stronghold looks pretty good with the bridges he's already got up here. We'll see. I'm not sure if that's a great way to convert the points. Alright, George takes bridge as expected. We think that Bizzle will probably take coins here. Though it's hard to say. He might not need them. Yep, Bizzle goes for the coins. So one of these towns may be a worker town to help balance out his economy depending on what he's looking to do. But it looks to me like he's going to want to do F2 is a pretty key hex for him here. And Nomads do have the ability to interrupt that if they're interested in doing so. I don't know that that's worth it for them, but I think it's more worth Nomad's time to rush towards more lucrative towns. So I think we're going to see the rest of this Fire 2 rush here. I think this is an obvious Fire 2 opportunity for Claybo here. Though he might not need it. He doesn't need it to form these towns, certainly, but he might want it in order to... I don't see what other favorite tile he's tanking, frankly. And this gives him tempo on the really high value point towns. And to me, it looks like George is going to want a Fire 2 as well. I think that helps him form his towns with tempo as well. So we'll see what's left after this. Fire 2 for Claybo. Let's see it. 3 towns in a row. Very satisfying thing to watch. Not needing Fire 2 isn't a reason not to take it, says Deranged. Agreed entirely. Look at those points just shoot up. So we go for 2 priest towns and a cult step town. Looks great. Claybo's got 5 priests in hand. And you know what? For all my talk about the network race, looks like Time Travelers are actually in a very good spot here. They're also on 12 network. Which means without landscapes, they're down to 5 structures on their board. Engineers are going to need to come up with some digs if they're going to change that. So it looks like they are the only ones that are close to the double dig action. So I think he'll be able to secure that no problem. He's got the resources, he could always hard dig as well. I guess the main thing for Claybo here is that he needs to upgrade his shipping for access. And to connect his structures, he needs at least 2 shipping in order to bridge the gap between B6 and B6 here. So George's points are looking a bit scant, but he's not getting any really on cults, but a Sanctuary for Fire 2 here would bring in 3 towns immediately, which is 15 points off of the track, plus all the points from the towns. And, excuse me. And he is going to be passing, with that Sanctuary, that would put up 8 points on the pass, in this pass tile. So I'm not sure. It's hard for me to tell where it's going to land, but it does look to me like Nomads are sort of hurting for points here. Could be that George is calculating out where everyone's at, but needing that bridge in the final round. Okay, so he's not going to prioritize Fire 1, it looks like. Looks like he might be able to Sanctuary for Water 1, for Air 1 instead, or even use his Stronghold power to dig out H8 or I5 for the town. So he's got all 4 of his trading posts up currently, so does need to have a little bit of work is going to need to be done to make the structures work here. But back to Bizzle. Also going to want to be forming towns now, although the highest victory point towns available at this point are worker towns, which we said Bizzle might want anyways. So he's going to build the training post on F3, which hurts in the coins department, but he's got them to spare, which allows him to dig F2. He's got the spade in hand, which he'll be able to hopefully finish that off if Nomads are merciful, which I imagine they will be. Nomads took the 11-point town, by the way. So that was the last high victory point town left. They both advance to shipping. Doesn't quite have enough leech to take double dig yet, but again, nobody else is threatening it. Wisps are the only other ones with Wisps are the only other faction with enough power tokens left to do it, and they're pretty far from having enough power available. George goes ahead and takes Earth 1, which I'm shocked is available this late. I hadn't noticed that. I mean, that ought to get him, depending on if he takes a coin town, I guess. That ought to be able to get him 4 points, 2 more dwellings. We'll see. In the meantime, Bizzle gets his town, worker town as expected, and goes for Fire 2. Okay, so I guess he wants to make sure that George has to do it the hard way. Maybe he wants tempo on a town. Maybe he cares about those fire steps. Could be a little bit of everything. But time travelers do have network options here. So they've got, what do they have? They've got C1 available to them up in the north. Now that they've reached 3 ship. And I think they've got enough resources to build out another trading post and hard dig down another dwelling as well. So that'll get them to 14 network. Don't think it'll be enough to catch Nomads, but that should be... I might tie them with engineers. I think it might still be third place for time travelers on network here. But they're winning 3 cults, and they're passing for 9 points. This does look very good for Ryan. Oh, we still got a couple towns coming in, so we gotta make sure to count for those. Okay. George builds out B2 for the town. Makes sense. He'll be able to upgrade to a temple and then a trading post over here for each 7. Takes the coins town. Bizzle builds a dwelling on F2. No need for another trading post here. He's got fire too. Can form that town right away. Takes a power town. So it comes within striking distance of the double spade. So I imagine we'll see Claybo snap that up immediately. Just to be safe. Looks like temple for Air 1, trading post, and then another coin town or ship town for George. Yep, right, because he's only on 2 ships for now. Yep, so he's got to get his shipping. Yep, and then certainly needed to upgrade the temple in order to free up the trading post to make a town on H7 down here. I don't see a better thing for him to do with that trading post other than just get Air 1 for 4 points. So that'll pretty much wrap up George's game. So that's a decent amount of points. This could be a tight one. Again, really impressed with all these players, but Bizzle and Ryan both playing these fan factions really well. Okay, Claybo goes to shipping 3. Yeah, okay. So with 3 shipping, Claybo's going to be able to make it over to G1, which frees up F1 as well. So those are his 3 dwellings. So that'll get him to 15 network, which we imagine Nomads will be able to get to 15 as well. So Time Traveler stretching for network here doesn't look ultimately all that lucrative to me. But I guess it's hard to say. Well, you know what? I think earlier when I was talking about Bizzle reaching C6, I'm not sure you can add access. Anyways, my mistake on that. I'll admit I'm pretty tired today. So we think we've got just about the rest of George's game accounted for here. He's going to need a temple up in order to build out a trading post. And he's got the free spaces to be able to build another dwelling. He's got both B1 and C8 available to him. Continue playing around with custom layout here. Gotta optimize it. But yeah, one more town for George. And everybody else has formed their towns this round. And cashed in on those juicy round 6 town points. Decided to offer Time Travelers some leech there. Takes Air 1 as expected. And you know what? I think that George can take the worker town and still have enough to upgrade digs. excuse me, still have enough to upgrade ship. You should have enough resources for trading post, dwelling, and final ship upgrade. I think that's his best. I mean, it's like a 1 point, 2 point difference, but I think that's his best line. You can get it. So Bizzle's stretching on network a little bit here. Looks like he's got not much else to do other than build out dwellings anyhow for those Earth 1 points. It's funny, looking at wisps on this map, I keep wanting to think that they can get to 5 shipping, but they are not mermaids. Like everybody else, they've only got 3 shipping. Alright, we're coming down to it here, so might finally be time for Claybo to take that double dig. The only issue is that Bizzle's got water 1. So if Claybo gives him a neighbor on G1, he would be able to... Is that true? No, Bizzle doesn't have quite enough. You know, Bizzle has just enough resources where he could upgrade E1 and big away F1 if he wants to. Now, I'm not sure if that makes any amount of sense. I guess it would depend on where their points are relative to one another. I don't actually have a sense of who's winning this game. Wisps have the most points in hand currently, but they didn't really develop their cult game very far beyond the last couple rounds, and they're not passing for any points? I don't think they're passing for any points here. Unless they temple for Air 1 with their last action. So I guess for Bizzle, it might just be sending priests off to cults to try to scrape whatever points are possible there. And finishing around high 140s. Yeah, somewhere in the 140s. I don't think that's enough for the win. Time Travelers have a lot of cult points coming in. Right now it's looking like 28 cult points. And then here comes another town for nomads. Like I said, I think the 7 pointer for the 2 workers gives them enough where they can still build out a dwelling and advance their shipping. So that's what he does do. And we're coming down to the end of it here. What do time travelers have left to do? 3 workers, a priest, and 4 power. Not sure what that adds up to. Doesn't have the ability to block Nomad's network at all. Not that he's close enough to contest Nomad's network anyhow, I don't think. But Nomads do have 2 yellows open. So Bizzle is just considering how to finish things off here. Which cults to send priests to, potentially. All these players with some goes to build a dwelling on D1. So I'll happily take those Earth 1 points. But again, I don't think that 12 network is going to be enough for even a tie on 3rd. So I think he's just doing what he can here. And it looks to me like time travelers are going to get 3 firsts and a 2nd place on the cults. Just that early action on fire and the 2 key town, and managed to do a lot of good stuff there. Alright, what's the coolest town in this game? I think Claybo's got it. I'm going to go ahead and say that this symmetrical sanctuary to temple town here, sort of southern religious establishment, I think that takes the cake this game. Although Georgia's sanctuary town has some things to say about symmetry as well. It's a toss-up. They did both put town tile symmetrically as well. Yeah, the upper left Nomad's town is nice too. If I'm George, I build my dwelling there on principle. Yeah, I don't know if I've seen that Nomad's town before. Bridging over, I mean, I guess it just takes the stronghold to do that, but bridging over like that. Claybo takes double dig, and then doesn't build a dwelling yet. Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. I thought he declined. So he's going to build the dwelling, walk in G1. Oh, George. Bummer. It's alright. Dwelling's a dwelling. It helps. And then just about enough resources. George will have 2 resources to spare. Has enough to upgrade ship and pass for another 12 points. That looks pretty good. So Nomads with tie for the win on network, passing for 12 points. Doesn't look like to be enough to beat Engineers to me. Oh wow, okay. Time Travelers get to 14 network. Yeah, no, okay, yeah, we knew that was going to happen. Still not enough. Still not enough to contest more than 3rd place. Alright, we've got everyone finishing up their final moves here. We're gonna see where this lands. We've got 3 players left passing for points, everybody but Wisps. You know, Wisps may be able to actually send a priest cult, and if they send a priest to water, they have enough to take the priest action as well. I could tie them for first on water. That's probably the move here, huh? I'm not sure what else they're doing. Otherwise, they could send a priest. Yeah, there it goes. Okay, they've got enough for the priest action. That's nice. Alright, pass for Ryan. Good game, Ryan. Nicely played. I like that as that Time Travelers have this. 6 points from Network, 28 from Cults. Engineers look great too, though. 6. I think it's between Engineers and Time Travelers for first. And then Nomads for third, Wisps for fourth. But we'll see where it lands. Claybo makes up to 140 before final scoring. That's got to be enough, right? Do Engineers have this in the bag? I wonder if that last priest action by Wisps on water was enough to help Engineers tip over the edge. I don't think so. I think Engineers have this anyways. Claybo talking smack in the chat. All right, so good game, Claybo. Congrats. Yeah, Claybo by a mile here. 172. Time Travelers for Ryan in second place at 157. Bizzle with the third, and then Nomads in fourth place here for George. Which means that we've got 3 players with 6 points right now in the league. Claybo, Ryan with 2/3, and George with the first. All right, and it looks like Claybo's in for a winner's interview, so we're gonna go ahead and hope I can get my Discord working. Oh boy, we got windows everywhere. Hey, what's up, Claybo? Can you hear me?
Yo, what up? I can hear you.
What's going on? Let's see if people can hear you. I guess that's the key here. If anyone's in chat.
That is the tricky
I'm
part.
a pro streamer, as you can tell. I'm real good at this. I know exactly how it all works. We're just gonna go ahead and talk for a minute and just hope people can hear us. Okay, hey, congrats.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. That was a doozy of a game for sure.
Yeah, talk me
I'm sure
through
it was
it.
a doozy to commentate as well.
I mean, fan factions didn't help, I will say. Although it was fun. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
pretty impressed with both Ryan and Bizzle. Like they put together, I think, solid games. I thought Wisps were going to end at like 120 here after the first couple rounds, but I mean, I don't know if either of them have even played particularly much. But in any case, were you? To what extent were you just like avoiding fan factions during the auction?
100%. Yeah,
I was going to
I
say, I was
thought that
wondering to
was
what
just like
extent they were going to be just like engineers and nomads just get bid to hell because of it. Sorry, what were you saying?
yeah. No, I mean basically what you were saying. I was ready to go to 10 points on engineers kind of thing. I wasn't even I was like, do I want to look up what their like faction abilities are? Nah, let's wait until, it gets serious. And I think we both knew engineers are just naturally strong. Didn't have a color neighbor, so I think
Yeah,
I could have afforded to go like 10 or 15 more points before I started thinking about the fan factions. But I mean, it is fun to play with the fan factions, even though, I don't think anyone really knew what was, the proper evaluation or what was even going on.
yeah,
So,
totally, totally. Were you worried at all in like round one, round two, when you started getting all your hexes dug all of a sudden? Like,
yeah,
did you
I
have
mean,
your
it
connection
sucks seeing.
paths like thought through ahead of time, or did you have to kind of pivot at that point?
No, I hadn't really thought too much about anything. I mean, the game started and I didn't expect nomads to go stronghold, but as soon as I saw that, I was like, all right, things are about to get dicey because, they can easily take my grays. And obviously the Bizzle taking being able to like take hexes with his like building a trading post thing, like things
It's
the
dangerous.
walls started. Yeah, it was very dangerous. So I think the longest think time was when I decided to dig F4 and I kind of left F3 alone because F3 is great because it gets you F3 D3. But if I go F4, it's a I mean, both F3 and F4 are towns, but it's a town without a bridge, it's connection, it leads to the east. So I just was like, all right, we'll see what happens here. But I think my instincts tell me to go F3, so I had to think it through.
F3. Sorry, I lost the map. There it goes. Yeah, yeah. It's like
Oh, it's all good.
easy. Yeah, you were what? You were on temp ship. That would have been like in theory an easy F3 D3.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
It was F3 was originally gray, and then Bizzle dug it with his like faction ability. So
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, all right.
Yeah, and then it looks like towards the end of the game you had like a dwelling round during a spade round because you got on that pass tile, and you had a trading post round during the dwelling round. Did you sort of plan that out ahead, or is it just kind of opportunistic once you saw the pass tiles available? You obviously got blocked out of water
Well,
one.
to
I don't know to
be
what extent you were hoping for that.
Oh, dude, so the thing about Water 1 is I genuinely didn't see that George had a temple on the south
Oh
of
no.
the map. So I was looking at all the structures up north, and I was like, "Okay, there's no rush for Water 1." And then I
Oh
see him
man.
take Water 1, and I'm like, "How's that even possible? He didn't have a temple." So just classic Claybo, I have to change my whole game. So yeah, no, that was never in the works. I was planning to just do like super normal things, and then it just turned out that I was able to line up the trading post on a dwelling round, but it was okay. Losing Water 1 wasn't the end of the world.
Yeah. Nice. Any other thoughts? Any smack you want to talk here going into the rest of the rounds? I mean, so you got one game, one win. George has got
Yeah.
two games, one win, and then Ryan's got second place in all the games so far. So
Not a whole lot of smack. I just don't want to come out of this losing to Ryan, you know? That's nothing against Ryan. It's just I just, anyone else can come out ahead of me, but it can't be Ryan. So I'm coming for you, Ryan. But
fair enough.
yeah, George and Bizzle are, pretty scary in their own right. So I'll be watching them.
Yeah,
I don't
man,
know.
this is such a strong league. It's insane. Like
Oh yeah, I
a
need
lot
to
of
go
fun to watch.
tank my ELO again next week. So
Yeah, I like how you lulled them into a false sense of security. That was smart. That was a good play.
oh yeah, that's the classic Claybo move.
Nice. All right. Well, good talking to you. Thanks for jumping on. And congrats on the win. Looking forward to
Yeah,
watching, the
appreciate.
next couple weeks too.
Oh yeah, true. Appreciate the call, and I look forward to the recaps. And also, your streams are amazing. I love them.
Oh, hey, thanks. While we're
Yeah.
gushing, your videos are amazing. That history of Terra Mystica video was dope. I like the intro ones you did too. I
Uh,
feel like I wish I had those when I was just starting out. But
yeah.
in
Thank you.
any
Thank you.
case,
I need
music
to.
choice. Music choice is very important, as we know.
Oh, for sure. It's all about
Yeah,
the music.
yeah. We'll see if Twitch like takes down the video because there's copyright material. That's always fun.
It's always a gamble.
Yeah. All right. Well, take care. Talk to you soon.
Uh,
Bye.
Later, Lester. Bye.
All right, everybody. That'll do it. Hope you enjoyed. Hope this wasn't too long of a stream. And looking forward to seeing these guys play a little bit more in the next couple weeks. All right. Take care.